Guys, how are you? On this segment, we will be looking at what we have on the critical thinking segment. As you can see from the video, we have the logic and power up your mind section. For each section, we have the separate YouTube button. It leads you to the video contents which are prepared. Each section has its own separate playlist. So all you have to do is click this YouTube button and it will lead you to the video contents. On this video, I want to talk a little bit about what critical thinking is and its relevance and why we have prepared this segment. So stay tuned. Uh, as you can see, we have the critical thinking and logic segment and the power up your mind segment. This is how we this is how we will be delivering this segment. As you can see from the picture, on this segment we will be looking at what critical thinking is. The content will include the titles stated below. We will be having the introduction to the critical thinking part. Introduction to critical thinking begins with an introduction to the concept of critical thinking, its importance, and its application in various areas of life. The other one is elements of critical thinking. It covers the key elements or components of critical thinking, such as objective analysis, logical reasoning, evaluating evidence, problem solving, open-mindedness, and effective communication. The other one is analyzing and evaluating information. When it comes to analyzing and evaluating information, critical thinking is very important because it gives you strategies and techniques for to analyze and evaluate information critically. It covers topics such as identifying biases, recognizing logical fallacies, evaluating the credibility of sources, and distinguishing between fact and opinion. Uh, this by evaluating and analyzing information, you will be able to identify the credibility and evaluate the credibility of different sources, and also distinguish between fact and facts and opinion. The other one is very helpful when it comes to the logical reasoning and argumentation. In order to form logical reasoning and argumentation, this critical thinking segment will help you in this regard. So this section will delve into the principles of logical reasoning and argumentation. It covers topics such as deductive and inductive reasoning. It has also it will also help in constructing and evaluating arguments, identifying between valid and invalid reasoning, and understanding common logical fallacies. By taking this critical thinking segment, you will be able to identify and understand common logical fallacies, and also you will be able to identify valid and invalid reasonings. The fifth one, you will be able to uh, solve problems and make informed and critically you will make decisions. It will This portion addresses problem solving techniques and decision making processes. It covers topics such as uh, defining problem and generating alternative solutions, evaluating the pros cons, which means the advantage and disadvantage of different options, and making informed decisions based on critical analysis. The other one is for its its implication is critical thinking. Its implication is vast. It also helps us to identify cognitive biases and heuristics. It explores common cognitive biases and heuristics that can impede, meaning that can block critical thinking. It helps learners to recognize and mitigate these biases to make a more objective and rational judgments. The other one is for communication and persuasion. The more you take this segment, you will be able to formulate your ideas in a more persuasive manner, and it will enhance your communication skills. So this covers the topics such as organizing thoughts coherently, uh, presenting logical arguments, engaging in a constructive dialogue, and recognizing and countering persuasive techniques used by others. Also, it has practical application and real-world implications. So we'll be doing I'll give you case studies, and that case studies will be you will apply critical thinking skill on that case studies. So critical thinking can be applied in various contexts, such as this critical thinking skill has a variety of application when it comes to the education and also the business, politics, and personal lives and more. So having this skill will make you effective in these contexts. The other one is what is critical thinking and its relevance. Let's see what's critical thinking as of itself and its relevance. Critical thinking is the ability to think, as I have said earlier, in an organized and rational manner in order to understand uh, connections between ideas or facts. It helps you to decide what to believe in. In other words, it's all about thinking. You will be able to identify, analyze, and fix flaws in the way we think. We will try to see critical thinking in a more wider sense, meaning its application apart from the apart from the scientific circle in a more daily lives, in other contexts, meaning in other contexts. No one is novice to thinking critically because our daily lives uh, demand our active engagement and consistent attention. For example, whether in order to accept or reject our sensory information, the data we get from our sensory uh, organs, like what we see and hear, you should be able to uh, you should be able to think critically to accept or reject uh, uh, your sensory data. The other one is to find out the truth of a matter. uh, it's also important when it comes to finding out a truth of a matter. The other one is to justify our claims and to put forward a persuasive argument. Even though this skill is important in our daily lives, we don't employ it in every decision making, rather putting our trust on people. Critical thinking is the ability to think in an organized and rational manner in order to understand connections between ideas or facts. It helps you to decide what to believe in. In other words, it's all about thinking about thinking. Critical thinking encompasses rational thinking, evaluating evidence, putting forward critics. It's critical thinking is a self-initiated, self-guided, self-rectifying process. It involves asserting our idea in a well-structured and systematic way. It makes use of logical tools to identify flaws in an argument and assessing for further refinement. Let's see some key features of critical thinking. The first one is objective analysis. Critical thinking requires approaching information and ideas without bias and preconceived notions. It involves examining evidence, facts, and arguments objectively and considering multiple perspectives. Once you are when you critically think, you will be able to identify different kinds of perspectives, because it requires of you to be an informed decision maker. So one should consider multiple perspectives by avoiding emotional or subjective influences. You should be able to avoid any personal prejudice in order to uh, in order to uh, uh, come to uh, a, a conclusion that is more informed and based on truth. The other one is evaluation of evidence. Critical thinking involves assessing the quality, relevance, and reliability of evidence or information. It requires questioning the source, considering potential biases